Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anne of Reinforce Me Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today, I am going to share to you how I conquered challenges in my English test after failing for 5 times. 5 times. Now, failing in English test 5 times was one of the most difficult experiences of my life. Imagine each failure felt like a setback, shaking my confidence and leaving me questioning whether I would ever achieve my goal to go abroad and work there and get a chance to travel at different places and discover new cultures. It was frustrating indeed and disheartening, especially since passing the test was essential for advancing my career, my dear nursing career. So, for nurses, the passing score way back that time in IELTS was 7 all in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But for OET, yeah, there are some countries who accepts B, B grade, B score in listening or reading or writing. It depends on the requirement of that English speaking countries. But basically for UK before, yeah, it's all 7. It's just recently that they've changed it that somehow they do accept now a 6.5 in writing and the rest must be 7. But once again, it all depends. And the requirements change over time. It also depends on your profession. But for nurses, yes, indeed, it was 7 all in IELTS. And, there are some years wherein, they're kind of forgiving, wherein they accept 6.5 in writing or B grade, B score in OET in writing. Yeah, it depends. However, I made a life-changing decision not to give up. Instead of seeing failure as the end, I choose to view them as a learning opportunity because I have no choice. I want it so bad. And you know the way when you want something so bad, you don't take a no answer. You do whatever it takes. So what I did was reassess my approaches, identify where I was going wrong. I sought help in areas I struggled with, such as grammar and reading comprehension. And, you know, after my fifth, or should I say fourth failure in the English test, I decided to start reading books regularly. Books of my interests. Not for the sake of reading it, but, those self help books. And I don't read fiction books. I also invested time in practicing consistently, using strategies, and pushing myself outside my comfort zone. So, by the time I decided to really not give up and to pass the test, pushing outside my comfort zone means forming a new habit. New habit, which is to study every day, to allot a time every day in those 4 areas: English, writing, listening, reading, and reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So those are the 4 areas which I need to study, and I did a lot time every day. You know, by the time I wake up or before going to bed. So 2 hours every day. To be honest though, I never thought that I could make it because it was already 5 times, and I know people who took the test 7 times, 8 times because they also wanted badly, and they did made it. And it is time consuming, and it's also wearing off my pockets. It's eating up my time and money. And if you are a smart person, maybe this episode isn't for you. But if you are a kind of a regular person, ordinary human being, not much of any specialties, but just normal hard work, this episode is for you. You know, I believe that miracles do happen if you work on what you want. I mean, the kind of work ethic that is consistent and determined to really finish the race, finish the fight, pass the test, get it done. Otherwise, if you believe that, you know, you don't really need much of s- uh, uh, study habits in order to pass the tests, this message isn't for you. But after I passed the test, I also apply the same attitude, the same strategy in all the other areas of my life. That is consistency, determination, and discipline. I know that discipline could be a harsh word, for some people who's not used to it. But the way discipline means you just have to really drag yourself a little bit in the first 1 or 2 months, and when the habit kicks in, it's like automatic for you. So it doesn't mean that you are a disciplined person. You just have to apply a little bit of force or pressure on yourself in a number of days, and then eventually it becomes a habit, and then eventually again a part of you, your own conviction. Now, I am going to give you the top 7 tips on how to beat, an English test or any types of exam or any goals that you want to achieve. You can also use the same strategies. Now, for example, you have taken the exam and you failed. The basic and the number one thing that you have to do is simply embrace failure as a learning opportunity for you. Don't take failure as the end of it. Like, yes, of course, it's going to shake your confidence. Like you feel like you don't deserve it. This that opportunity, but might not be for you. That's part of the process. But after you've gone through the, let's just say you've been sad for a while because you failed, and of course you have to grieve for that. And after you've been through the grieving process, which will take for a couple of hours or days, it depends on you. It's important to accept the challenge. Make the goal as a challenge, like a game for you to beat. Failing doesn't mean you're not capable. Always remember that. It's part of the learning process. After each failure, take time to reflect on what went wrong. Was it your preparation, time management, or, you know, nerves? Like, were you anxious during the tests to the point that you forget everything that you've studied? You keep thinking about, messing up the now, while you took the test. By pinpointing specific areas of weakness, you can learn from your mistakes and come back stronger. Sometimes, though, we fail because of our preparation. Some people would say, yes, I did my best 100%, but was that your best? You ask yourself, was that your very best? Can you do something better than that? And then you fail again, do it better and better and better. You come back stronger. Well, the first time I failed, I could say that I did everything. I did everything I could. I was present during the lectures. I was there during the practice tests. I did everything I could too. But every time I fail, I thought about where I went wrong, what needs to be done. Do I need to be, tough, tougher now? What areas should I change? Is there anything I can do to, other than going to the lectures? Is there anything I can do in my part? Should I allot time to study? So everybody did their best. But whenever you fail, you ask yourself, is there anything else I can do? Can I get better? And when you improve yourself, your strategies, your preparations, your time management, you get better and better. Once again, all the people in the world wants to win, wants to pass the test. When they're taking the exam, they did their best, but when they fail, you ask yourself, can you get better? Can you improve your preparation, your strategies, your time management? Could be, is there any areas that you need to improve more? Could be reading comprehension, you know. So you come back better. I hope you get what I mean. But coming back better means you have learned from your first attempt. You have learned the lessons. Now, the second thing that you can do is to seek help where needed. Everyone has areas where they struggle, whether it's in grammar, listening, or vocabulary. Don't be afraid to ask for help. This could mean working with a tutor or joining a study group or online resources. You need to tap those resources, those apps like, English language apps, if you have to. And it's also important to get feedback from others, who can offer you new insights and solutions to the challenges that you're facing. Well, as to me before, after I failed 3 times, and the third time around, I enrolled myself to 2 review centers. After changing my preparation, allotting time for study every day, plus I started reading books. And other than reading books, I did practice tests on IELTS. I I dig in more, resources, English test resources online, so I can get better. Plus, after the third fail, I enrolled myself to 2 review centers. So that was a desperate move, but it did help me a lot because I was struggling. I'm not a genius, I'm not really an A student in the class, especially in English. So I have to pay the price. I have to work harder to catch up, and I did accept that to myself. I also borrow notes from different reviewers other than the 2 review centers that I enroll where I enrolled myself. I also borrow reviewers from other review centers, plus from those people who passed the tests. Yes, indeed, it was a desperate move, but every time I failed, I asked myself, how can I get better? How can I get better? Is there anything else can improve to myself, to my resources, to my time, to my effort? Then I do that. Desperate moves, but look, I don't care anymore. The only thing I care about is to pass the test. That's all. And go outside the Philippines. Nothing else. Number 3 is develop consistent practice habits. So improvement comes with consistent effort. Set aside time each day or week to focus on different parts of the exam, whether it's reading, writing, listening, or speaking. Create a study schedule and stick to it. This is important. This is your part. I do understand that you've been to the review center, but you also have to do your part to incorporate what you have learned from the review center. So do your part, and this is your part. Develop a regular study habit for yourself. This daily commitment will steadily build your skills and confidence. So, after the third fail, I started doing this. I only studied sometimes, before my third fail. But on my third fail, I allotted 2 hours every day, whether I like it or not. Every day, 1 hour for writing. The other hour is allocated for reading. Could be reading, listening, and speaking. But every day, writing for me was a must. Writing test, because it's where I failed most of the time, in the writing skills. Number 4 is try new strategies. So if one method of studying isn't working for you, you can switch things up. For example, you could try watching English movies with subtitles, listening to podcasts, reading books, or using flashcards for vocabulary. Different strategies like practicing mock tests or timed exercises can help you adapt to the exam format better. So what I did way back that time was I I dig in, I downloaded resources online and make it as part of my mock test. And I also did timed exercises in writing and speaking, as well as reading. Listening, of course, that's perfectly 1 hour because you just have to fill in the blanks. But I timed my exercises as if I am already taking the test. And I do practice writing tests every effing day. That was wild though. And I also started reading books, non-fiction books. And I ended up reading about money, business books up to this time. So it was already more than 5 years, or it could be 8 years, or yeah. And I'm still reading right now. And I'm not a bookworm. For your information, I do read 5 to 10 pages per day because I cannot stand leaving that habit. It's like my brain is like a zombie now. It needs to be fed. At least maybe one information too. It has to be done. Like it needs to eat every day. That's how wild my brain is. I must feed it. Number 5 is celebrate small victories. Like for example, if you were able to achieve a high score in the practice test, it could be in the review center or on your own, while you're studying for yourself on your own. So celebrate. You can eat a little bit of chocolate or walk on the park or watch your favorite Netflix series after you study. Understand that acknowledging this milestone as they remind you that you're on the right track. Which means that you are following what you said you're gonna do. Well, for me, that time was I simply celebrate every time I show up on my own study schedules. And you know what happened? That was the greatest life changing event in my life. That I have discovered that every time I show up for myself every day, I did the things that I said I'm going to do. It did build up self confidence in me. That from that time on, even before passing the English test, I already trust myself. I already said to myself that I am going to pass the test. After failing third time, I'm gonna beat it. I don't care if it's draining my pocket, I'm gonna get it done. And it did happen. I don't care if it's the end of the world. That was my fight back then. So my focus was 100% passing the test. Number 6 is stay determined and resilient. Always remember that persistence is the key. Sometimes, though, I get negative feedbacks from my mentors, from my teachers. Sometimes I did get positive feedback, and I took it as it is. Sometimes I feel that, oh my gosh, I think I still couldn't make it. It's gonna be exam the next after next week. I thought I couldn't make it, but I still did my best to impart everything they taught me. I was even tempted to quit though, and every time I really thought about quitting, and then the back of my brain, my brain reminded me, why am I working so hard? My brain reminded me about my goals and the good things I wanted in life, which is on the other side of my doubt, my fears, other side of failure. So it means that I really have to conquer and pass the exam, no matter how I don't want to study anymore. But whenever I got reminded about what I really want, it's like it's like the awakening of the beast in me that I'm really going to look. I If only I could eat the examiners. No, I was just kidding though. I would. I would do everything. And I don't care, once again, whether I end up broke as long as I get what I want. The passing grade became the dopamine in me. Number 7 is the last but not least. Never give up until you finish the fight, until you get the passing score in your English test. Once again, once you did you did it, you passed the test. You can also apply the same strategies in other areas in your life. It could be financial struggles, if you have financial goals, relationship goals, career goals, you could also apply the same strategy. So, since you already have a good, could be lesson learned from your past, which means that failure is, a good start. Failure was a push. Failure was a kick in the ass so that you can succeed not only in the English test alone, but also in the other areas of life. So that was a good start for me. A kick ass start. It wasn't easy, but once I made it, gosh, I did apply the same strategies to other areas of my life, including investing. Now I am working in Ireland. It's not always a happy days, but I did get what I want. And success feels, feels even more rewarding knowing how hard I fought for it. The experience taught me to become much resilient, and it also showed me the power of determination and the lessons about failure, that it's not a sign to quit the fight. Failure is a stepping stone to achieve success. We're not going to learn anything from success and happiness, but with failure and pain and suffering, gosh, you know what's going to happen? This painful experience that we've gone through will change us for the betterment. So, yeah, I hope you learned something from the episode today. If you happen to love this content, please follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, even in Amazon Podcasts. Reinforce McLove. By the way, this is Anne, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thanks.